My name is Sanders, and I am a migrant. I came from Zimbabwe in 2004, like probably the most of us. And I've been working as a nurse pretty much my entire life. So then I actually decided to, venture into real estate. The reason that made me venture into real estate was because I actually lost a lot of money. I made a lot of mistakes. My first property that I bought was 100K over market value. And, the rent was very, very, very low. So because of that, I couldn't go ahead and do anything. The only time I realized I made a mistake is when I tried to buy property number 3. And then the bank said, well, we are very sorry that you may not be able to buy another property because you are overstretched. So I looked for a second job, third job, just to be able to continue investing. So this is when I thought, well, I think there should be a better way, surely. And I started educating myself a lot. And, to cut the story short, I researched all the Australian property market. I did every education you can think of around property investing, renovations, construction, land subdivisions, name it. So then when I was ready, that's when I then started investing.
Hi, Sanders. Hi, guys. My name's Ellie from Lux Living Homes, one of 2 directors. So here we are.
So I was trying to tell you about myself, and then in 2010, that's when I seriously looked at starting into investing. So I did a lot of strategies from, as I said, from renovations, house and land packages, off the plan packages. But then finally I ran out of money. And then that's when I actually went into developments. The reason I went into developments was really to make sure that I could be able to buy a property every year whenever I actually wished. So this is what it is about today. So my passion is to educate you guys and also be in the same situation that I am in now. This is the start of the presentation. I think for the majority of us, we have been taught, to go to school and, get the best job. So we go to uni, we end up with a degree or, PhD or whatever it is, just to be able to get a good paying job. And then the next thing, we see ourselves married. And after that, well, once you are married, you need somewhere to stay, and then you buy your own home. Obviously, that buying a home comes with a mortgage. So this is the cycle that we all do. For most of us, we actually rely on our jobs. And then we don't have any income to actually look after us during retirement. That's why a lot of people work until they are 75. And the government realizes that they've actually increased the retirement age to 75. So I don't know about you, but for me, I don't want to work until I'm actually 75. So traditionally, again, this is what the majority of us do. So I'll give you an example of there are 2 scenarios there. We've got one investor. I'll call them both investors just for the sake of the presentation. So the first one buys a home for 400K, and normally the mortgage is for 30 years anyway. So say this person is 25 years old. So by the age of 55, which is 2050, they would have paid their home completely. And their home, obviously, it has grown up in value from 400K to 1.2 million. So this is great, it's okay. But the bad thing about that is there's no passive income. And the 1.2 million, even if they can't sell that home because they have nowhere to live. So you are then stuck. So let us compare with the other investor. The other investor is in the same scenario. They started the same way, on a 400K mortgage, 30-year loan, and this one is a forward thinker. So they are thinking about their future. They are thinking about how they can be able to look after themselves and their family during retirement. So this one does leverage, the equity that has grown into that home, the 1.2 million. So they are using that as the home grows up in value, and they constantly buy a property every year or every 2 years, depending on the situation. And then this investor ends up with 10 investment properties at the end of the same period. And then the 10 homes are worth 12 million. So if you compare that with investor number one, 1.2, and the other one, 12 million, and they own 10 investment properties, I think you can see where we are supposed to be, and this is what we are actually aiming for. So they've got a choice there. They can sell the other 5 and leave the other 5 debt-free, and then they can have a 300K passive income. So this is income that is coming through rent, and the chances are that their home is actually paid off anyway. So there's definitely an alternative strategy to actually get ahead. And the first thing is to invest in your first property, and then use the equity or leverage the equity that is there to be continuously buying properties. So, I know you've got questions already about this, but don't worry, we'll see how everything goes. And then invest in the capital growth of positive cash flow properties. So we do a lot of research. We don't just invest for the sake of investing. We look at areas that have got a potential of capital growth. And then, because these are investments, you actually reduce your taxable income, because the ATO gives you money for owning these properties. And then you repeat the same strategy numerous times, probably depending on your situation, every year or every 2 years. And then make sure your choices are financially self-sufficient. So this is when you need professionals to actually guide you, so that now and again that you are meeting your targets. So how then do we do this? So you carefully and methodically purchase one property per year, as we have discussed, and then utilize the equity that has actually been created, and then with a lot of due diligence and buying the right properties in the right locations. And then after a number of years, as I said, you sell the oldest properties and leave the newest properties to actually look after you. And the end result is a debt-free properties with the rent paying for the desired lifestyle that you actually desire. So why do we need to invest now? So this is a very, very interesting thing. And when I see all these things happening, I actually get so excited. So the interest rates are the lowest ever. And what does this mean? It's actually easier for us to borrow money from the banks. The only way we can be able to achieve this is by being able to borrow money from the banks. And then because of the low interest rates, it's actually cheaper as well to maintain the loans. So there was a time when the interest rates were as high as 7.5, and I understand before then they were as high as 13-15%. So you can imagine the interest rates now are as low as probably 2.5 or even lower. And then the other thing is increase in government spending. without the government spending money, usually the economy stalls. So last week, there was just the budget announcements about how the government is actually looking at getting us out of this recession, which is a very good thing. And I'll just highlight this. I am not any economist, but I've been following this critically. So infrastructure projects alone, they've been allocated around $11 billion. This is for all states and territories, from New South Wales to the Northern Territories, Tasmania, ACT, Western Australia, everywhere else. And then the construction sector has also been allocated around $688 million. So that's a substantial amount, not mentioning the $25,000 renovation and first home buyers grants. And then they also been a business support in terms of business write-off. And the government is also looking at, bringing global businesses into Australia to make sure that there's increase in jobs creation. And then the other department that has been affected, that is actually one out of this budget, is health. Health has been allocated around $1.7 billion, and this is supporting the COVID-19 vaccine creation and everything else, including support for aged care. So to me, this is, when I hear such news, this is actually very, very, very good for us as investors. So there's really nothing to fear in terms of where we are going. And then the other thing is population growth. Everyone needs a roof on their head, and the population keeps growing. There's a lot of migration going on, and so people will still need somewhere to live. And all these people that will come here to service all these other jobs, migrants that are coming in, they surely need a home to live in. So this is again something that's very, very powerful. So how then do we start to get started in property? So there's a number of ways. We are all in different circumstances, different situations in terms of investing. It's not a all size fits all, but definitely you should be able to start somewhere. So the traditional way is obviously saving money if you can, if you've got a target of what you want to achieve. And then I spoke about equity in your own home. I won't go much into detail about equity because Jeremy is actually going to explain that in a very expansive way. But in a short explanation, this is when your home has actually grown up in value. Say you purchased it for 400 and now it's worth 800. So that means you've got 400K there that you can access, actually start investing. I call this less money because that's your money. That's money that needs to work for you. Just in the first scenario, would you rather own one home or end up with 10 homes just using that equity that you have? And then the other interesting strategy is the self-managed super funds. That's another less money for you sitting there that you are trusting other people to manage the money for you. And while it is being managed by First State Super, Esther, or whoever there, whatever profit you make there, you are taxed at 30%. Whereas if you manage it yourself, whatever profits you make, you are taxed at 15%. So a lot of our clients are actually smashing it. They are using their super to invest. Some have got 2-3 properties or more, depending on how much super you have there. And you are also allowed to have not only one, you can have 2, 3, or 4, or 5 members in there. So you can come together and put money together and actually start investing. And then the other way of investing is the joint ventures. So joint ventures is a very broad definition, but this is just when 2 or more people come together for the purpose of putting money together and be able to invest. We'll show you examples of some of the joint ventures, including self-managed super fund purchases and everything like that. And then the last one is positive gearing. I only picked the 4. There are other ways, but these are the major ways that you can actually do that. So positive gearing is what we do every day. That's what we support. So positive gearing is the opposite of negative gearing. A lot of investors are losing money because of negative gearing. They think that they are investing. To me, I don't call that investing. It's like someone creating a business to lose money. I've never known anyone doing that. So positive gearing is when whatever property you purchase from day one, after paying all the expenses or the outgoings associated with that investment, you're actually left with cash in your pocket that you may use for another purchases. You can save it or you can use it the way you actually like. But since we are talking about investing here, so that money will be used wisely so that you continue creating your wealth by building and getting more investments. So then going forward, we are now getting into the right mood. So I'm going to show you some of the investments that our clients have been purchasing. And then, so this is the time to get excited, guys. If you need to grab a cup of coffee or a glass of water, because I need you to concentrate and see that this is really something that is very, very, very achievable. So to start with, I've got this property here. So this is for an investor who has actually cashed up. This is through a self-managed super fund. And they didn't want to borrow money from the bank. So they had 650K. So they bought this outright. And they are getting 600 a week. And they purchased it for 650. And this is in a very high growth area. So they are after capital growth. So you can see there, obviously they've got their 650 in there. But the good thing about that is the tenant is paying 600 per week, which is about 2,400 a month. And if you multiply that by 12, that's a lot of money that is actually getting into that super fund. So, and coupled with the capital growth, like in 10 years, if that same property doubles in value, that will be about 1.3 million. So I don't know where else you can actually grow that type of money using a self-managed super fund strategy. And then this one, I just threw it in here. It's actually a very, very interesting one. This one was my first purchase using a self-managed super fund. Back then, this was in 2015 when you could set up a self-managed super fund with about 100K. So I didn't have much money there. That's why I went and bought that part there. When I went to inspect that property, it was really in a very bad state. The carpets were very smelly and the walls were all sort of damaged. And so all we did is we purchased for 265. We just used 10K for a renovation, and it took us about 2 weeks to do the renovation. And then we just waited for a month and we got it revalued for 350K. So just by doing that cosmetic renovation. So, that means we made around 80 to 85K in under a month. And if you look at the rent, it's renting for 330 per week. So that's no brainer. That's why we actually bought that property. And we had a recent valuation on that. So we bought this in 2015 and now it's worth 450. So this is again a self-managed super fund strategy. And then the next one, I love this one. This one is a very good one, although it wasn't purchased in a self-managed super fund. So this is about a client who just wanted positive cash flow. So if you can look at the houses, it's a double-story house. It's self-contained upstairs. So it has got 3 bedrooms upstairs, and it has got a bathroom, a toilet, kitchen, everything you can think of. And then the same downstairs is a 1-bedroom, and it's also self-contained. So the combined rent, you can rent it upstairs and downstairs, and it's rented for $560 a week. It's what we call positive gearing. So this client is not losing money from day one. They're actually getting money back into their pockets. And this is how you actually accumulate such things. And when you go to the bank to borrow money, the bank will always give you money because you are not losing money by owning this type of assets. And then the next one, now we are becoming more and more creative. So if you can look at this house again, it's a house that is sitting on 900 square meters of land, and the house is sitting at the front. I think we can't see very well, but if you look on your left, there's a garage there. There's a very big access to the back. So the intention there is the house looks very nice. You don't need to do much on it. So this property was purchased there are no figures there, but I remember very well it was purchased for $240,000. And the intention is to build another townhouse at the back. And then you have multiple choices. So you have got a choice of keeping both and renting them a positive cash flow, or you can sell the old house and leave the one at the back. Or you can leave both, depending on your circumstances. But if you were to sell both of them after construction, you would recoup all your money that you put in there and walk away with another $125K. So this is when you are short of cash and you need to build more money to be able to do better deals, or maybe in better locations. Another thing you may realize is that all our properties that I'm going to show you today, there's no property that was purchased for $800,000 or $1 million. There's a very good reason for that. The higher the purchase price, the lower the rent that you're actually going to get out of it. And even in terms of capital growth, we have found that properties that are purchased at a lower, that are purchased lowly, they actually increase in value very, 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 very quickly. Like for this one, it was purchased last year, as I said, for $240,000. And I did a research yesterday. The same properties are selling for $320K. So these are areas that are actually very, very well risked. And then the next one, as you can see now, this is a duplex. So again, we are after money. This is a client that they just want to build and sell. But having said that, for this client, they ended up selling one and actually keeping one. So after refinancing and everything, their debt was left as 428. And then they got all their money for that they used in the cost of building and the acquisition of the land. And then they had a profit of 105. The profit is low because they didn't sell both. But however, who cares if I can make $105,000 in 8 months? And then you have a property that is brand new and renting at $550 per week. So as you can see there, the debt is 428 and the rent is always higher than the purchase price. So this is what we do all the time, and that's why we continue accumulating such type of assets. Yes, this one is another one. It's an excellent purchase. Again, it's a multiple strategy deal. So we are throwing everything you can think of into this deal. So again, it's a very old house. It's not very, when I say old, it's maybe around 1960 built. And it's quite neat. You don't need to do anything into it. The inside is quite good. It's a 3-bedroom house, but as you can see, there's a nice driveway going to the back, and the land size is 1,100. So as we speak, there's construction going on for two townhouses at the back. And then we are going to strata title. I don't know if you can understand what I'm trying to say here. And then, so we end up with 3 properties on the same piece of land. So then the client will actually have a decision on whatever they want to do. So either they sell the 3 homes, or they can sell the old one and actually leave 2. So by so doing, in 1 year, they've already acquired 2 properties. So they are already on their goal to reach, property number 10. Or they can, as I say, they can sell everything, maybe sell 2, leave 1, or maybe keep everything. So the choice is really theirs. So we are not restricted in what you are actually going to do. You are the investor. You just sit down with your person that is advising you on whatever strategy you do. And all these strategies are meant so that you don't stop investing. So from this deal, before it even finishes, we'll be looking forward to say, look, we have done well here. What then should we do next? So we are not limited. We are not stuck with one single property. So that's why this goal of reaching 10 properties in 10 years is really very, very realistic. Yeah, this one again is a simple duplex build. Now you can see the word joint venture coming into play. So these are 2 investors that came together and said, look, I don't have enough money. Why can't we join together and for the same purpose of investing? And so again, their choice was to sell everything at the end. But another choice could have been, each keeping a property. So that means they would have got their money back and then walked away with a very brand new property there. So profit after selling everything is 175. So if they started with 200K, that means they will get their 200K back, and then they make another profit of 175. So now they've got 375, which means they are in a better position to go ahead and continue investing. Yeah, now it's getting a bit complex, but still the same strategy. It's a multiple strategy deal. So this one, again, I'm sure some of the clients are actually in the audience, and I think they are smiling when I'm actually presenting like this, because they are seeing their properties being presented. So guys, pat yourself on the back if you are there and you're actually watching. You are doing quite well. So this one is, as you can see there on the red lines, it's a property that is on 2 titles, but the other title is actually vacant. And as you can see, there's a nice house stuck on the corner there. There's a carport and there's also a shed. So the aim there is to leave the existing house, because it actually holds a lot of value. So when you buy the house, you buy everything. It comes with the land. So if you demolish the house, then the value of whatever you're going to build is going to be less. So we keep the existing house, do a renovation, and then demolish the carport, demolish the shed that is there. And then this client, we have already done some due diligence there. They are going to build 3 at the back. They were going to build more, but I think there's a sewer line running across the block. So that's why we are only limited to 3. So then they will end up with 4 properties on 1 title. Then I can't think of, what else they can actually do. If you look on your right of that building, someone has actually already done it on the far right, on the house that is actually bluish. So this is things that we copy. It's not like, we are doing something out of the ordinary. So if they were to sell everything, they'll walk away with 275. So again, they can sell whatever they want, leave whatever they want, or they can, never sell at all. But the idea is making your numbers and making sure that you know what you can do next, so that you don't stop investing. Investing is not about buying one property or two properties. Investing is about accumulating these assets in the long term. And then as the market does the work for you, and that's when you're gonna sell and then leave some debt-free, as we actually said. And when I'm talking about investing, property investing is not a quick rich scheme. It's something that you have to invest for the long term. So the earlier you start, the better. There's no point owning one home and you say you want to pay it off. And then when you are 6 years having paid off, that's when you start to invest. So how do you grow your wealth? There's no way you can do that. You need to start early. Like every 10 years, we know that properties double. Double. I mean, it's not certain. It's not something that is written in stone. But even if it doesn't double, the chances of you making money are very high. And because you are putting a tenant there that is paying the mortgage for you, they are reducing the debt, and you are also enjoying capital growth. You are enjoying cash flow as well. I don't know what else you would actually need as an investor. So now we are mixing it up. So this one is another client of ours. This one was just purchased probably 2 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a capital growth strategy. This one is a self-managed super fund purchase again. So look at the purchase price, but look at the house itself. Looks very beautiful. So purchase price is 420 and weekly rent is 430. So again, they are going to accumulate this. I think this client is actually there. So 2 months they settled this, and next month they are actually settling on another one. So already in a space of 3-4 months, they've already purchased 2 properties. And then after that, we'll sit down and see what else they can do so that they do not stop investing. So another one is, this is a multiple income strategy deal. So again, if you look at our deals, they are made so much that, already you can see money on them before you even purchase them. For this one, you can see there's a nice driveway already there. There's a block of land sitting at the back, and it's a double-story house. So you can also rent upstairs and downstairs. So again, this is one of our clients that we have helped. And so they are keeping the existing house, and they will build a townhouse at the back. So the purchase price is 340. The building cost will be 250. But their intention is to keep both properties. But we are always talking about whether they keep or they sell, whatever. They are so excited for now. They truly speaking, they don't know what they are going to end up doing. But at least it's nice to have all these choices. You are not limited in whatever you want to do. As I said, the game is not to be stuck in one deal. The game is to continue investing. So if they were to keep the 2 properties after building at the back, their total rental will be 900 per week. And so the land purchase is 340, the existing house and land, and then the building costs are 250. So it's about 600 altogether to the nearest, but then they are getting 900 rent. That's unheard of in a residential setting. It's like a commercial property, while it's just a simple residential property. And in these areas, property values are just skyrocketing every day. And then finally, this is one of a more complex deal. But again, when I say complex, these are things that any one of you can do, guys. This one is the latest purchase that we have just done. So there's a very old house sitting there, but we are not concerned about the old house. All we are concerned about is the land. So if you look at the land, there is 1,669 square meters, and it's sitting on top of a hill, which is quite good. When we build, it will be having city views. So obviously we can sell for more just because of that. But the intention there, if you look at the frontage, it's quite wide, 24.21 square meters. The depth, meaning going down to the back, is 76 on the other side and 89 on the other. But because the front slopes, so we can't build anything there. But from where the house is going back, that's where we are going to build the 6 townhouses. So, I can talk all day in terms of numbers, purchase price, and everything. But if you can see there, the lower diagram shows you that there will be 2 townhouses at the front, 2 townhouses in the middle, and 2 townhouses at the end. So there will be all 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 2 car sports townhouses, a nice driveway coming through. And then after all the costs of construction and the purchase price, the profit will be 600, and probably the time build will be around from acquisition, getting all the necessary permits and construction up to selling. It's probably 18 months worst case scenario. So if you walk away with 600K in under 2 years, I don't know where else you can make such type of money in property. So this is why I love this type of stuff. And guys, as you can see, I've presented a number of properties here, from self-managed super funds to personal acquisitions to joint ventures to, this is another joint venture deal. So in Musisa Property and Consulting as well, if you've got money sitting somewhere that is earning 2.5% in the bank, probably less. If you can do a joint venture inside some of these deals, say you put 200K of your own money in there, and then you get a 10% return. That's way better than putting your money in the bank. So we call it less investing, but it's better you're actually doing something if you don't want to be part of the if you don't want to be acquiring properties, or if you've got self-managed super fund money or any money that is actually sitting there. We are happy to talk to you, see how you can be assisted along those lines.